Hi class, and welcome to our presentation, Information Systems for Human Resources. This is part of the course Management Information Technology with Dr. Justin Sen. The students that compose this group are Parul Singh, Ella Dudley, Haritha Kakani, and myself, Angel Ruber Garcia. For today, we're gonna have an introduction, history, an overview of information systems and human resources, better known as HRIS, the type of HRIS and components of HRIS, the benefits, cost, risk of an HRIS, the future of a HRIS, some existing platform of HRIS, and IT jobs related to HRIS. And we're going to have, of course, a conclusion. Initially, we're going to explain why we chose this topic, why information systems apply it to HR. As we know, different departments work with the Human Resources Department, and information technology is not the exception. Why? HR technology is important in HR because it enables managers to gather, collect, deliver information, and communicate with employees more easily and efficiently. It connects the human resources work with the business systems to accomplish the objective adequately and productively. It also enables the overseeing of sharing information secure over virtual systems. What a human resource information system is, or a HRIS. According to Tannenbaum in his article Evolution of HRIS in 1990, HRIS is used as a system to acquire, store, manipulate, analyze, retrieve, and distribute pertinent information about an organization's human resources. It encompasses various functions including recruitment, training, performance, evaluation, compensation, and retention. A little bit of the history of HRIS. Everything started in the early 20th century to the World War II. Before World War II, employee information was recorded on paper, stored in files, and managed manually. Resumes were discussed in academic business textbooks only after 1914. Personal professionals primarily handled basic clerical tasks related to employee record keeping or physical storage of those records. Then we have the post-World War II era in 1945 through 1960. In this era, neoclassical theories challenged the scientific management style. Personal management evolved beyond clerical tasks. However, there were still no computers or technology available to record employee information. And finally, we have the recent developments. Over the last 15 to 20 years, research of using technology to support human resources has increased significantly. The advent of the web as medium for delivering HRIS led to this surge in interest. We can mention AI, we can mention a lot of systems that had developed the recent HRIS in the modern time. According to Tannenbaum, we have two departments, human resources and information technology, and what relates them is no other than the data. The data that relates human resources and information technology can be used through an HRIS or a human resource information system. The goals of our HRIS is to provide accurate and timely data. The importance of an HRIS is to provide comprehensive information in integrated databases. Remember that data is stored in databases that can be used as relational, and then we could have information that can be handled by enterprises in their employees' tasks. Then we also improve HR operations and management processes through an HRIS. And HRIS facilitate the user decision making. Also, it shifts focus from transactional to transformational activities. Transactional activities are those mere clerical activities that don't give a value to people, like payroll or editing the employee information. Transformational activities are those that leverage data analytics within the organization and help in the decision-making process. Also, it helps delivers human resource services more efficiently and accurately. According to Benny Portal, a good HRIS should be able to handle the following: applicant tracking system, recruitment process. Remember that HR managers want to track those new hiring on onboarding of people. That's the next step. HR managers would like to know when the employee started, who will that person report to, what that person will need, inventory, etc. Then we have online benefits administration, because those new employees that on board will have benefits immediately they started in an organization. PTO tracking of those hours extras that the employees are working, time and attendance, payroll, compliance, performance appraisals, and performance management. I want to mention about the compliance a little, because each employee have to be in compliance with government rules. Depending the state or the country they live with, they have to comply with the government and all the regulatory agencies, and HRIS will tell the human resource manager if they are complying with that. Of course, the performance Form 1095 for those that pay taxes, major part of the employment pay taxes, and the COVID administration for those employees that take licenses. The HR analytics project life cycle, according to David Coughlin. First, that process starts with question formulations. It starts by defining business relevant and strategy guided problem questions that can be solved and answered using the data. Then we have a data acquisition. It's collecting, retrieving, gathering, and sourcing high quality data. Then that data gets to be managed, or data management, wrangling, cleaning, manipulation, joining, and structuring data. This takes a human resource analyst more than the 95% of their time whenever they don't have an HRIS, and HRIS can facilitate that process for the human resource management, and they can have that time for dedicated to more relevant onboarding or human related stuff. Data analysis, applying quantitative and qualitative methods to data to identify associations, trends, differences, changes of categories, and predictable data with such tools as machine learning, artificial intelligence, simulation, computation modeling, etc. Data interpretation and storytelling, that's other process that requires the feedback of the stakeholders and the end users. So it's the part that we get the feedback from that system that is being developed. And finally, there's a deployment and implementation. It's prescribing action based on the interpretation of data analytics finding, how analytics interacts with information systems, whether human resources analytics implement a solution for a particular situation. This could be implemented as a HRIS part or a portion of the solution for the master solution of the HRIS. So there's a relationship between human resources information systems and HR analytics. In the past, they were separated. Human resources information systems was a department, and human resource analytics was another department. But with time, people had think that they always work together. And if you see in the image below, they have an overlap. Both functions often share overlapping responsibilities, and in some organizations, they might operate as a unified function. In their organization, HRIS may be nested within IT, and HR analytics may be nested with a data science center of excellence. Now, I will leave you with Haritha, who will be speaking about different types of HRIS and its components. Thank you so much. Here are my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle, for introducing me. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 types of human resources information systems and the 4 key components that make up human resources information systems. The first type of HRIS is operational HRIS. These are HR systems that help people managers and HR staff to move around people, such as to hire, to promote, to transfer people. It's used for companies that want to prioritize investing in their employees. Internal job systems help identify people within the organization to fill a role. These are called applicant tracking systems, and some examples include Workday, Lever, ADP, and ICIMS. The second type of HRIS is strategic HRIS. This HR system helps with analysis, decision making, and goal setting in regard to workforce planning. It's for organizations who want to be intentional about the employees they hire to improve retention rates and to grow as well. It involves identifying people with the right background, skills, responsibilities, and salary for any role. Tactical HRIS targets efficiency and compliance for functions like compensation, recruiting, training, and benefits. It supports macro-level HR decisions about how to most effectively invest and allocate resources. Comprehensive HRIS functions as a one-stop shop for storing any information needed to perform any and all HR functions. It serves as a central repository for a wide range of data that supports operational, strategic, and tactical HR functions. It integrates data across all three types of systems, and they're meant for larger companies. Specialized HRIS focuses on one or a few core HR functions, such as payroll and benefits. They're less expensive compared to HRIS solutions and is meant for even just one person to handle this kind of software. They're meant for smaller businesses. Next, I will focus on the four key components of human resources information systems. What underpins HRIS is data, which contains information about people. So the first key component is the place where this personal information is stored, individual files. They contain information about an employee as related to the company, such as your role, skills, salary, etc. The second component is tables and references. This individual file is made of shared data because you don't want to retype information every time. So the tables can include the list of entities or a description of the profession. They can include cross-referencing to create a frame of reference. The third component is roles and permissions. This component tackles who is allowed to access this table and to enter data or change the data. These rules and permissions are variable with each employee and their role in the company and their responsibilities. The last component is scope. Scope depends on the organization of the company and the way we think of it. It works hand in hand with rules and permissions in regard to who is allowed to do what, with what info, and within what scope. These are the references that I used to share the information on the PowerPoint today. Next, I will introduce you Parul, who is going to share the benefits, the costs, and the risks of human resources information systems.
Welcome to today's presentation on Human Resource Information Systems or HRIS. Here, we will explore the significant benefits, understand the cost, and identify the risk involved in implementing these systems in human resources. So let's dive in. HRIS significantly enhances efficiency in human resource processes. It automates routine tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and employee record management, thus reducing manual labor and minimizing human errors. With HRIS, organizations can manage vast amounts of employee data efficiently. It offers centralized storage, easy access, and secure handling of employee information, which facilitates better data management and compliance with data protection regulations. HRIS provides analytics and reporting tools that help in strategic decision making. HR professionals can analyze trends, track workforce performance, and plan resources effectively, thus enabling better alignment with organizations' strategic goals. HRIS enhances the employee experience by providing self-service portions where employee can manage their personal information, access pay records, request time offs, and use e-learning platforms. All this contributes to higher employee engagement and their satisfaction. While the benefits are substantial, implementing on HRIS also involves certain costs. Investing in HRIS involves a significant initial expenditure. The cost can vary widely depending on the scope of features required, such as artificial intelligence, integration, and extensive analytics. This initial outlay is for the software purchase, which is just the beginning of financial commitment. Getting HRIS up and running isn't just about buying software, it's about setting it up right too. This means customizing it to fit exactly what your company needs, integrating with it your existing system, and making sure that all data moves safely and, most importantly, accurately. This stage can be tricky and requires both time and money to get it right. But think of it this way: a smooth setup means fewer headaches later. And then there is training. Everyone who uses HRIS needs to know how. That means investing in some comprehensive training sessions for your HR team and any other staff who'll use the system. Plus, you'll need ongoing support to deal with any issues that pop up and to keep the system updated. This is an ongoing cost, but it's crucial for keeping everything running smoothly and making sure you are getting the most out of your HRIS. HRIS is not only the advantageous but also helps manage several risks in HR management. So now let's talk about keeping things safe. HRIS holds a lot of sensitive information, and that can be a big target for cyber threats. The good news is HRIS comes with strong security features to protect this data. But it's up to you to manage these features properly. Keeping your system secure is crucial for protecting your employees' information and company's reputation. Staying on the right side of the law is another biggie. Employment laws change all the time, and it's easy to fall behind. Luckily, HRIS can automatically update to reflect new laws and regulations, helping you stay compliant without having to scramble every time the rule changes. And finally, automating processes means you are less likely to run into errors that can come from manual data handling. Think about it: fewer mistakes in payroll or benefits administration not only save time, but also prevent issues that could demotivate the staff and even lead to legal problems. That's a big relief, isn't it? We have covered a lot today, from how HRIS can make your HR task easier and more secure to what it takes to get one up and running and the ongoing care they need. We have seen that while there are costs and risks, the benefits like improved efficiency, better compliance, and happier employees can really transform your business. Now I'll hand it over to Ella, who's going to show you how to integrate HRIS into your systems effectively. Thanks for sticking with me, and here is to making HR better together.
Hi, I'm Ella, and I'm going to be talking about the future of HRIS. So as we've talked about throughout our presentation, HRIS is very complex, and looking towards the future, that is not going to change. So because HR is so heavily regulated already, and then there are changes depending on the country you're in, the industry you're in, and the company you're working for, HR can tend to get very, very complex. And especially with new technological developments that are continuing to happen, for example, the introduction of AI, HR and HRIS specifically is going to continue to increase in complexity, which is going to be a struggle for businesses to keep up with if they're not properly equipped. Continuing off that theme, advancements in technology. Again, AI, huge new introduction, just kind of entered into the business world, and finding ways to adapt that, to utilize it and not be run out by it is going to be crucial for HRIS. There are positives to technological advancement in this industry. Obviously, increased system efficiency. You want your users of your HR systems to be efficient, there to be minimal errors, and new software updates help with that, especially like Web 2.0. And then it also allows for the growth of small businesses. They're able to have access to technologically based HR platforms a lot easier now. There are a lot of, which we'll talk about later as well, different platforms that they have access to that really enable small businesses to kind of bridge the gap that they had seen before this new technological development and be able to kind of keep up with larger businesses now. And then employee demographic changes, specifically talking about just AR and less the technology side of things. There has been a huge growth in minority employee growth in the workplace. Women specifically make up for a much larger portion of the workplace than they used to. So that definitely has to be taken into account by HR. What are changes in maternity leave? What are changes in essentially healthcare plans associated with those changing employee demographics? And then a big jarring one is the rising age of employees. The largest rising group of age group of employees right now is those who are 65 and up. So with an aging population, how does that change your healthcare plans? Again, how does that change the way you look at retirement plans, at pensions? How are you treating your employees? How are you retaining them if you have such a older base? So that kind of changes how you hire and how you maintain employee benefits going forward. Increasing healthcare costs, which kind of goes with that employee demographic change that we just talked about, those have been on the rise, and that's been listed as a top issue for many, many organizations. CFOs specifically will state that that's kind of an issue that organizations are looking at. So how is HR going to deal with those costs? How does that, again, change employee healthcare plans, change the benefits that they give out? Virtualization is another game changer. Post-COVID, we see a lot more work from home versus in-office environments, and or a few days of the week you're in the office and a few days of the week you're out. So how does that change the standards you set for your employees? How does that change their benefits? How does that change pay, essentially? So that's kind of a hard one to navigate for HR systems. And then social networking has become so massive over the past several years. LinkedIn has become a great recruitment tool to get to know, new hires. And then Twitter and Facebook are great for kind of maintaining a digital footprint for companies. And again, for finding new hires, keeping employees and customers satisfied. That digital footprint is really important when looking at new hires and employees, especially with the rise of like Instagram and TikTok, right? It's important to kind of vet employees on their social media now and to make sure that the business itself has a great presence online. So how can HR try and manage that so that our hires are well vetted and that the business is maintaining a positive outlook? So like I talked about earlier with like the small businesses and the advancements in technology, there are a lot of growing HR platforms. I know UKG and Workday are already huge, right? They already take up a lot of this space and have a lot of, larger businesses on their side. In terms of for smaller businesses, there's examples like Bamboo HR, Which you can see here, it's the green photo kind of shows what their profile looks like. It's mainly targeted at small, like medium growing size companies. And there's a heavy focus on performance management, which relies a lot on gaining employee feedback to see what's working, what's not, and kind of seeing like individually how employees are improving, staying the same, and how the company overall is experiencing growth and, what areas could be improved upon, as well as taking care of those basic necessities like payroll and things like that. And then an example for larger companies would be TriNet Zenefits, which was previously just known as Zenefits. And this is targeted at those larger companies that are heavily regulated. So like if the FDA is regulating you, right? If you work in food, if you work in finance, and there's certain caps on things like that, or even industries where overtime is not allowed. You need to make sure your employees are working a specific amount of hours and not going over. This has been really targeted at them. A lot of other smaller HR platforms have now kind of adapted to having a baseline as their HR platform, and then there are additional benefits. So there are add-ons you can pay a little bit more for to kind of get an increased rundown on things, get a few different features. So that's also been really helpful. Again, going back to small businesses trying to grow, they can start at that baseline, like, cheapest option. And then as their company grows, they can add those extra benefits as they're earning more profits, as they're hiring more employees, things like that. So the flexibility and the growth of HR platforms has been really crucial in the HRIS space. Finally, the last thing I want to touch on for the future of HRIS is the increase in jobs as an HRIS essentially analyst and in the HR and information technology space, because they're beginning to intersect a lot more. So an HRIS analyst really helps bridge the gap between software errors within those HR platforms and the human users. It can be really hard to kind of work with, say, an AI, online help area, or just simply talking with IT. So an HRIS analyst kind of helps humanize that and also tailor it specifically to the company that is experiencing errors or is utilizing that software. So having an HRIS analyst, all errors, all software quality needs go through them. So they're personalizing it, they're making sure the company itself understands the software, and working towards both short and long-term goals to kind of increase system efficiency, to make sure the quality is up, and then to make sure that users are satisfied when they're using it, right? It's not just about the technology and just about the HR, it's about combining the two and finding kind of a harmony between them. So it's really crucial in making sure companies are able to find that harmony, and that your HR system is working really well, up to speed, up to date, and your employees are feeling that as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to our conclusion.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. As you learned, we spoke a little bit of the history of HRIS and how they appear and show up, how information systems and human resources work together in HRIS. We spoke about the types, components, we spoke about the benefit, cost, risk, we spoke about different job opportunities with HRIS, and hope this information was useful for you guys. Thank you so much for your attention, and it seems human resources and information systems will be working together for a while. So thank you so much, and HRIS is a good thing to explore and a good topic to research, because this is the future for human resources and information systems. Thank you.